Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Live TV Ratings Talk here on the Wrestlenomics YouTube channel. I'm Brandon Thurston, broadcasting live from Buffalo, New York, where it's still daylight. Daylight savings is coming soon, and we are going to talk about the latest TV ratings. We have a new rating this afternoon from AEW Dynamite, 941,000 viewers total. More than half of them in the demo, 518,000. Pictured here, where the mouse is. If you can see the mouse. A .40 in the demo. It was Dynamite's first Wednesday in 2 weeks, after 2 weeks in preemption, due to the NHL. Unusually, in the Pacific and Mountain time zones, this program was airing live, which it usually does not air live. It usually airs at 8 p.m. local time. That means in the Pacific time zone, Dynamite aired at 5 p.m. local time, and in the Mountain region, 6 p.m. local time. So not in prime time, you could say. The Edmonton Oilers and the Philadelphia Flyers on TNT had to be live, so there were some rearrangements made there. This was, let's take a look at the 18 to 49. This is with preemptions excluded, or no? This is with preemptions excluded, yeah, that's why we have this long line here. So this was actually higher than the most recent Wednesday that Dynamite was on Wednesday. And this was a .37, the most recent Wednesday. But total viewership, this is the first total viewership under 1 million. If we can look back at the long list. Here's the first plug on the Wrestlenomics viewership spreadsheet, which you can get access to at at patreon.com/Wrestlenomics for just $5 a month. So if we look, 941,000 right there in total viewership. And we have to scroll. Obviously, these preemptions were under 1 million. But as far as a Wednesday, we have to scroll just over 1 million here, October 6th. We have to continue to scroll. 1.1 million, almost 3 million, 1.1, almost 2, almost 1.2, 1.3. That's after all in, or all out. Just over 1 million, September 1st, 1.1. And then we find here, August 18th, 975,000. On August 18th here. I can point to it now, yeah? Still higher than 941, which, again, is what we have here. So we have to continue to scroll all the way. Here's 979 on August 11th. But we continue to scroll over 1 million, over 1 million, over 1 million, over 1 million. And here, July 7th. I believe this is Miami, the first show back on the road that was not at Daly's place since the pandemic, or elsewhere. Georgia, I know, but July 7th, 871,000 viewers total. This is the lowest total viewership since this date right here. A lot of competition here, of course. If we look at, do I have that chart ready? What I've been trying to do lately is use Showbuzz Daily's data on the cable originals, so this wouldn't include reruns, but the cable originals and the broadcast prime time. And I'm asking a question that I'm trying to answer. The question is, and I'm doing this for all 5 days of the week. How much competition was there, or at least how much TV viewing was there? So I've been doing this. I've gone back. I could go back further, but I've gone back to August 18th. This is the beginning of Rampage, I guess, is the beginning point that I at least went back to. And we look at just in the time slot of 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, which is, in this case, is Dynamite's time slot. What is the competition like, or it's more appropriate to say, what is the viewing like? And on this night, this was the highest that I've had on this very short record so far, where we've got from 8 to 10, again, not including reruns, only including cable originals and everything on prime time in broadcast. We've got 9.4 million viewers, 18 to 49, which is substantially higher than in any of these previous, 8 or so weeks. And what was on TV on last night? We have, of course, the World Series at the top of the list at 2.24 in the demo. Now, Dynamite has been how many weeks in a row lately? If we just sort to Dynamite here. How many weeks in a row? There was a good stretch of, 6 weeks after the Punk debut that AEW ranked number 1 among cable originals on the day in the demo. As I stall for time, as Google Sheets sorts it out for us. So, I got to input number 4 here for this week. I've got 2 preemptions here, but number 4, the most recent Wednesday. And then we have how many in a row? 6 in a row, number 1 rankings on the day in the demo. So number 4, I guess, is where it has ended up in the past. That said, in cable, the late NBA game between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trail Blazers was number 1 on cable in the demo with a .46. Again, Dynamite with a .40 in the demo. Another NBA game between the Atlanta Hawks and the New Orleans... What's the New Orleans team now? I haven't played NBA Jam in a while. Is this the Pelicans? This is the Pelicans, isn't it? But anyway, that beat out Dynamite 2. That's the game that did run head-to-head with Dynamite. And again, also running head-to-head with the World Series, which did a 2.24 in the demo. 10.2 million viewers total. I don't know how that compares to previous year's World Series. At some point, I should try to dig this stuff up. I have all the cable data already dug up because that's pretty easy because that's sitting there on Showbuzz Daily in text. But getting the data that's, as people may know, as visitors of Showbuzz Daily, which I expect you all may know, some of that data that they publish are in images. So that has to be extracted, to make a long story short. Anyway, by far, the World Series leads the day. And let's not forget, on cable, also edging out Dynamite by 4 points, 4 ratings points, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on Bravo, which, along with the challenge, has been, besides sports, has been AEW Dynamite's rival. I think more than any others. Where is the challenge? 0.35. Dynamite did beat MTV's The Challenge. As you can see, these are programs that are really carried by their female viewership, more so than their male viewership, with a 0.63 for Real Housewives, a 0.40 for The Challenge, and Dynamite just had a 0.23 in the women 18 to 49 demo. So that's Dynamite. I can tell you the people at AEW are very pleased with this rating. They're happy with it, feeling that this was going against the World Series. As I mentioned, there were the issues with the Pacific and Mountain time zones airing earlier and not in prime time, and going against an NBA game too. Sure, this one, so not the more highly rated one, the slightly lower rated one. So there's that. That's Dynamite. Raw. I don't know if we're going to talk too much about Raw or SmackDown tonight. By the way, feel free to put any questions you may have in the chat as usual. I wanted to talk about NXT. I have post-it notes. They are not light yellow post-it notes, so they're no longer translucent. Unfortunately, no longer in the Halloween spirit. These are bright blue. But I would like to look at the NXT Halloween Havoc episode that aired 2 nights ago on Tuesday night. And yes, I'm getting the Pelicans right. That's good to know. Okay. The Halloween Havoc episode, which last year was a really big rating for NXT in the old-fashioned 1.0 days of NXT. It did 876,000 viewers and 326 in the demo. And if you want to know what that is as a rating, we can do a live demo conversion right now. Now, you have to remember, this was in the year of 2020. So that means we have a different denominator to deal with when converting the demo. So what we're going to do is take the 326 that it was and divide it by 1294, which is, in thousands, 1% of the 1849 universe in the, Nielsen fiscal year of 2020, because they start their year at August or September. I guess that makes sense because of the TV seasons. Anyway, that's a 0.25 demo rating. For context, Dynamite, as we just mentioned, did 0.40. But that's their best rating for a long time afterward. In fact, you could say it's true that NXT has not done a better rating than this rating since this time. Since this I believe it's October 28, 2020. They come close with the takeover episodes around WrestleMania time, but not surpassing it. So I was expecting maybe this would do a good rating too, and relative to what NXT has been doing lately, it did. And now remember, this NXT was going against Dynamite. This was well into the Wednesday Night War. There's still several months, 6 months or so left of the Wednesday Night War to go, maybe 5. So the NXT 2.0 debut or unveiling was 770,000 viewers, 275 in the demo. So this did not meet that. I think that piqued a lot of curiosity. I think what we often see is it's the older viewers, especially P50 plus, maybe even 35 to 49, who are always there. They're loyal and they don't leave. But the 18 to 34 especially are those who check in and out. Can I demonstrate that? Basically, you can see visually how squiggly this line is, this 18 to 34, the young adults. And you can see how, let's say outside the demo, how flat this is. This is mostly people over the age of 50. So there's that. But anyway, this did 746,000 viewers, 241,000 in the demo, which is what, as a demo rating. Now we have to use 1305 as the denominator. And it did a 0.18 demo rating for NXT. Again, not as high as the 2.0 episode and not as high as the second episode. The second episode, to their credit, held some people on. But we see more than anything in this environment of wrestling, and I wasn't following the data this closely in the Monday Night Wars, but what we see more than anything is a lot of people checking in. Again, as I said, especially the people who are 18 to 34. They check in or feel compelled to watch something live only on occasion, and then they check back out, and maybe they're engaging and following some other way, but we don't see it in live same-day viewership, which is what all this information that we talk about today is. So there's that. In the quarter hours, it's a pretty consistent trend across the board here. In the demo, opening with 258, closing with 255, opening with 795, closing with 715. The peak quarter, as many in my mention celebrated, was the Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez match. Most of it, the rest of it happening in the next quarter. That was the peak. I don't know if there's much to take away here. Maybe there was additional interest in that match. Because it's not really in a quarter that, it's not like it was at the top of the hour, which is a quarter that usually does well. It did better than the opening quarter, which is also a quarter that usually does well. Sometimes the main event is up there too. But this was not in a especially favorable quarter. So some credit there. It's interesting too that, if I'm not wrong, this program, this Halloween Havoc episode of NXT, went 30 minutes with no commercials. And held on to viewership fairly well. Didn't grow, but who knows what they gained and maybe accounted for in Q1 here as far as whatever was the lead-in, probably an episode of Law & Order or something. And there's that. Chucky followed this episode, of course, doing it was aired on Sci-Fi and USA Network, and it did a pretty good rating. If we look at the Tuesday And we can see, I think a huge opportunity, by the way, was missed by not having Chucky pop onto the video screen and cause a distraction finish, costing Braun Breaker his NXT title opportunity. So there's the sci-fi one, and where is the USA one? Am I just not seeing it? Let's do a Control F for Chucky. So there's the sci-fi one. Okay, and it's down here at 35. So because it's split up into these two ratings here, and let's make myself smaller so you can see this. It's split up into these two rows here. And if we combine the 0.15 it did and the 0.13 it did, we get a total of 0.28 for Chucky. Again, for context, NXT doing a 0.18, which is a pretty good rating lately for them. Total viewership was smaller, though, which indicates that we had a younger audience here for Chucky. Welcome to Chucky-onomics here. 682,000, less than NXT's total viewership when you combine. NXT, of course, if it was being simulcast on Sci-Fi, would have a somewhat higher rating. So, which just indicates that the NXT audience is a little bit older. As we know, that is the case. Do I have the median age chart here? I do. And NXT, the program that is targeting young adults, 18 to 34, is still struggling to get out of the high 50s in terms of a median age. As always, Raw, SmackDown in the mid 50s. Impact all over the place with its smaller sample. And Dynamite's in the high 40s, low 50s. Did a really low median age this past Saturday for the Saturday Dynamite, 45. Rampage is a little bit younger. I wonder if that's partially driven by Rampage's late time slot. Because, I don't know, maybe older people go to bed and get tired more easily. So, there's that. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, we have 30 concurrent viewers. I think we had over 70 or something for the crisis that followed the Friday Night War or something like that. There's a big rating, so this is a pretty mediocre rating for Wrestlenomics live TV ratings talk. We'll have to hotshot Big Angle or something. By the way, I always like to look at this. This needs to be updated for the formatting. But Dynamite did not, in any demo that we have data for, did not edge out Raw or SmackDown, as it has been lately. That did not happen. But NXT did edge out, and more than edged out, Dynamite with people aged 50 or older. The closest margin we have here, this is of course not the same week for SmackDown, but just the most recent episode. The closest margin that we have for a comparison like that of AEW versus WWE is the male demo, 18 to 49, 5% margin for Raw. You could say, well, maybe it's the competition, but Raw has had to go against Monday Night Football, so it's been disadvantaged in that way too. I heard some people saying that Raw was at its Monday Night Football had its lowest rating this past Monday, which we can investigate and confirm. I have a tab here in the spreadsheet called MNF, which stands for Monday Night Football, and we can see here that the demo did a 3.07, which for some, make that a little less abstract. That's how many viewers in the demo. 4 million viewers just in the demo. 11.1. However, that's total. However, that's a low rating for Monday Night Football. If we get my head out of the way here, if we scroll, we got to go back pretty far. You can find one here towards the end of the season last year, doing a 2.79 in the demo, and under 10 million viewers for that game. I don't know who that was with, but we can tell you who was in this game on Monday. The New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. How are they doing this year? Not well enough to draw more viewers, anyway. So there's that. We can look at Roads to the Top, which concluded its first season. I don't know if there's going to be another season yet, but that'll be announced at some point. 309,000 viewers was the most recent episode. 148 in the demo, 0.11 demo rating. We can look at the whole season, though, a little bit more meaningfully. And maybe I didn't have this ready. Well, what we can do is this. I can sort this, and we can look at Roads to the Top. Roads to the Top has been airing after Dynamite in all cases. There are rerun episodes that have aired too, but these are just the first runs, the originals, where we've got the first episode was aired in a 1 hour block, so this is really representing 2 episodes here. The following week, there was 2 episodes that were reported as 2 separate rows, for whatever reason. So we've got that. The last 2 episodes aired on Saturday. The viewership was over 400,000 for the first 2, under 300, back over 300, and then settling down around 300 again. Has this series been successful? Has the viewership been good enough? Well, we can try to take a look and look at, since most of this happened in October. I have a tab here looking at everything in October to date. So we have yesterday's data is the most recent here. And if we look at, let's say, what's on TNT, Turner Network Television, and if we sort everything that's just TNT in the month of October so far, we can see that it's the leading programs. This is sorted by 18 to 49, right? Yep. And it's a lot of NBA, Dynamite, and another episode of Dynamite, the most recent 2 Wednesday episodes. And then we have more NBA, an NHL regular season game. This is the Rangers and Capitals game. This is the first Wednesday night game on TNT for the NHL. The Saturday Dynamite inside the NBA, a Major League Baseball playoff game. Really? At 9 p.m.? No. Duration 22 minutes. No idea what that is. 2 episodes of Rampage, another episode of Dynamite on Saturday, another episode of Rampage, NBA, Roads to the Top. And we see a lot of NHL in here. We make this a little bit smaller here and scroll through it. But this is everything. That's ranking in the daily top 150 among cable originals. This would not include any reruns that TNT may be airing, any movies, or anything like that. So Roads to the Top is in the bottom half of this, right? How many rows do we have here? How many slots? We have 41 in October, and Rampage is in the bottom 21. So they're in the bottom half, but doing usually, especially this, this is a Saturday airing. These are Wednesday. The Saturday did better than this Wednesday, but yeah. Doing better than NHL post and pregame shows, doing better than 1 episode of Animal Kingdom. So this is, I don't know. I don't know how TNT executives or Turner executives are evaluating this. It certainly has some value in terms of having some synergistic dynamic with AEW programming, but the viewership isn't blow away, but maybe there's enough here to give it a second season. But we'll see. So there's that. There's Roads to the Top. And Dark Side of the Ring has its finale tonight on Vice. I think I'm going to watch it. The Vince McMahon steroid trial, where the government went after him. And we can look at the entire season so far. We should probably talk about averages too when I'm done with Dark Side of the Ring. But if we look at the slide that I have for Dark Side of the Ring, viewership has been weakening for Dark Side of the Ring lately. The most recent episode as of this stream is the XPW episode that did 109,000 viewers, and we can look at this in the demo too, which I have have here compared to Impact. If I make this smaller. So this has been doing 109 most recently, which was the lowest total viewership in the history of the series. Let me move this over so you can see it. But this is comparing it to Impact in the dark red. So Dark Side of the Ring has beaten Impact in every one of these head-to-head occasions, where Dark Side has been airing at 9 on Thursday, Impact airing from 8 to 10, so this is overlapping with the second hour of Impact. But in the demo and in total viewership, Vice's Dark Side of the Ring has edged out, at least edged out. Sometimes we have way up here, it looks like doubled Impact in both total viewership and the demo. Most recently, even this XPW episode did, I should say measured at, dealing with a smaller sample here, 63,000 viewers to 22,000. So that's tripling, almost tripling what Impact did. So this is doing okay in the demo still, relative to something like Impact. Now, maybe that's not quite a fair comparison because Access TV is in substantially fewer homes. It's in about 40 million homes, whereas Vice is in about 50 million homes. I think I have a chart for that. I do. You can see illustrated there. 55 million homes for Vice, 40 million homes, or 39 million homes for Access TV. So there's that. Dark Side, I bet, will be up for tonight's episode on Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's probably a little bit better of a draw than XPW and Rob Black. But we will see tomorrow afternoon when those ratings come out. Dark Side has been managing to rank in the top 150 for each of these weeks. It's finishing, I think, even in the top 100. Impact has been out of the top 150 lately. And these programs have been affected too by baseball. Baseball playoffs that have been on TV lately. I think we've had, in recent weeks, we've had one of the few occasions in sports history where we've had, and maybe it was this most recent Thursday, where we've had an NFL game, an NBA game, an NHL game, and a Major League Baseball game, and all meaningful games, not just preseason or something. So let's look at quickly too. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But I'm going to look at what these programs are doing, how they're trending. Let's take a look at this. If I see if I can make some room here. Google Sheets had a big update. There's different options now in Google Sheets, by the way. So let's pull this over to right about there so everybody can see what I'm trying to look at here. So I built these tables here that just measure the viewership of the given program in the given month. I take the median because it excludes things like the Smackdown that had the lead-in on Christmas. It excludes some really exceptional anomaly. This excludes all preemptions as well. And we've got here measured in the green. Since, as we know, as I've been reminded often, all TV is down. So, as a stand-in for all TV, we have the daily top 150 that we can look at too. And we can say whether or not these programs are declining worse or are outperforming the decline of TV overall. And what we see is what we've seen for a while, and we have a longer view down here that we can look at here going back. I don't know, was this going back a year? I don't know how many bars there are there. But we can see SmackDown and Raw and total viewership, the demo, similar. The demos declined a little bit worse just because the viewers are a little bit younger. But SmackDown doing well in the last 3 months, actually up in this return to touring versus where they were before in the Thunderdome era. That's all in the Thunderdome era. Actually, August is still the PC era, except for the very last week or last couple days. But SmackDown is up in the return to touring. Raw is kind of up, and Raw is going against Monday Night Football, but it was going against Monday Night Football last year in September too. Granted, though, it was going against Monday Night Football. That was also in the pandemic and had no crowd. At least up to this point, I'm pretty sure through October there was no live crowd at NFL games. But AEW Dynamite, with no NXT to oppose it in this year versus last year, is up by double digits, by 20 or 30%, both in the demo and in total viewership. NXT, however, with competition from AEW Dynamite absent on Tuesday night, as the buzz around NXT has subsided, NXT is down in most of these comparisons, up 1% in September. That's buoyed by the 2.0 relaunch that did two pretty good ratings in 2 weeks. So half of September did pretty well for them, and then they're kind of back to normal. But down 11%, up 1%, down 2% in total viewership, and it's a little bit more aggressive in 18 to 49. Impact just caved in October against all this sports competition. The month is not over yet. Impact has one more occasion to change this number, and that would be. And then there's another Smackdown and Rampage yet too. We don't have Rampage in here, you might notice, because Rampage doesn't have a year in its history to compare itself against. But all of these programs, except for this one instance of the October comparison year over year of Impact to the prior year, these are all doing better than the decline of the top 50 daily cable originals only. So there's that, and we can look at the longer view, and in fact, I even have 18 to 34 over here. Yeah. But only for the 4 programs, not for Impact, because Impact is never finished in the top 50, let alone regularly. But these programs all do finish in the top 50. And because they finish in the top 50, actually I could do this for Impact, because I probably have all the data. Anyway, I need to add Impact to this. But anyway, we can see how, if we go way back in history, this would be early 2021, late 2020, which is comparing itself to the year prior, so late 2019, early 2020, the very early part of the Wednesday Night War, where we see huge attrition here for NXT in 18 to 34. And we see quite a bit for Dynamite too. We can probably populate this in for NXT. I don't know why it wasn't, but there's that. So we see deltas of negative 20%, negative 30%, a weird plus positive. Oh, that's probably we see a positive 34% here, because this is the month that includes Winter is Coming, the episode after Winter is Coming with the first advertised segment with Sting, the Brody Lee episode. All of these did strong ratings, so a huge positive delta for Dynamite here, while the others surrounding are very negative, negative 34, negative 47 in its debut month against its October 2020 month. So sort of the story I see here is that these are so negative because there was such, you could say, such unusually high interest, or such special occasion interest among these younger viewers to the beginning of the Wednesday Night War, which declined over time. And we don't see quite as negative trends, I would think, in 18 to 49 or in P2 Plus, right? Not quite as negative. But anyway, and then we see in April, the conditional formatting gets very green for AEW, as AEW no longer has to go against NXT. And that's really been the biggest factor, I think, in AEW's really macro increase in viewership. And we can look at some averages here too, by the month. Where are they? I think I want to look at this tab here, where we can see that AEW is averaging. These are averages or medians? These are medians, but similar story. Is doing a median of 900 and 800 thousand viewers in the early part of 2020, just before the pandemic. And then it goes down to in the 700,000s. It climbs back up to 800,000 here in August and September. This does or doesn't include preemptions. This does not include preemptions, so it doesn't include the preempted time in the summer when things were preempted. But we really see growth. We probably want to look at this month to month, right? And we're looking here at, now we're looking at averages, but what I want to see here is the month-to-month change, which we're seeing here in these rows here with the conditional formatting in red and green, where, you know, we see some red here. It's just sort of small changes or a big negative change in the case of April, the first full COVID month. But the strong green is here up 25% month to month for April, which is when the NXT competition went away. So there's that. In July, ratings went up too strongly. No CM Punk yet, to their credit, just for the return to touring. And did we see that in others? Did we see that for Raw? We saw a 9%, 2% increase. W was about 1 week later to the return to touring. And there was more of an abrupt difference for Raw and SmackDown too, because they went from Thunderdome to no fans there in person to thousands of fans there in person, whereas AEW went more gradually into a return of fans. So that's interesting. This is not populated. How dare it? So there's a big increase in viewership to AEW's credit when fans come back. We're looking at total viewership, but it's similar for the demo. And it's similar, even more aggressive for the younger half of the demo. So there's something happening here. And it's a bigger thing than a star or a storyline or a feud, but it's the return to touring and maybe some other things. I think personally, I think AEW becomes a more interesting product where you can see people develop in front of a crowd. AEW especially, WWE too, but not in the same way. And WWE has done its own work to sweeten the crowd, of course. But there's that. Then we see a 13% jump in September, which is the first full month with CM Punk, and almost all of that month has Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole as well. So, return to touring has benefited, you could say, AEW more than WWE, I think. Because we see, again, why am I saying that? Up 71% in July, up 77% in the demo. If we compare that to Raw, up 9% in August, up 2% in July. More aggressive in the demo. Up 19% in August. That's pretty good. SmackDown up 5% and 6%. Up 4% and 5%. But AEW, in the whole month of July, maybe they were just doing really bad ratings in the previous July. 774. But up 71%. We're talking about the difference between single digits or decent double digits to 71%. That's a pretty big difference. So there's that. While I'm meandering around here, I should mention something about Impact. I feel like we don't have this. I must have cut this date off or something. Let's see here. What I want to ask myself is what was Impact? And this is the entire history of Access. Impact moved to Access in December 2019. I think there's one episode in 2019. But in the demo, they're in the 50s, 30s, down as low as the 20s in the early part of the pandemic, where I think there's replays happening. In the 30s, 40s after that, though, 53,000 is their average demo. This is average or median? Median. This is the month that includes Kenny Omega starting to appear on Impact. And then the 50s, where they're now, their median right now in this month of October is 31. So this is well below what they were doing these 2 COVID-free months of January and February, but way down from that. Okay. If you have questions, I will try to answer them. So let's see what we have here. Wow, people are still watching this after all that. Okay. I'm scrolling through the chat. Is Chucky in danger of becoming the new TNA? I think I don't know about you. I have fond memories of Rick Steiner and Chucky. I didn't know that was so early. I figured that was certainly a 2000 WCW moment. Let's see. AJ asks, Dynamite has been dropping viewers since September 27 Rampage. Is well under 560,000. Is it time to maybe think, just for a second, that AEW isn't as perfect as the internet says? You can't ignore these drops, can we? Okay. I don't think it's that alarming. So let's look. You're talking about the demo, or I guess you're talking about total viewership, sure. So let's look at this visualized. It is settling down, and I think the changes in viewership are related to peak interest. That's what really all these programs are driven by. There's going to be these peak interest moments, and then we're going to see where it settles. This is where it settles, where it's pretty close to this, just over 500,000 viewers, which at 10 o'clock I think is okay. And consider where it's ranking among all programs here. If we look at Rampage's ranking, it's ranking number 9, number 4, and remember it's at 10 o'clock being compared to all programs at 10 o'clock. And maybe we could even look at this and say, let's take the whole month of October. What is this, by the way? Is this September? This is September. But let's take the whole month of October because the viewership is lower in October. And let's sort. Let's look at all networks, and let's try to look at everything. I don't know if I can filter this way. If I can say after. I don't know. Let's see here. If I can, this might take some clicking. If I could say, let's do everything that starts. Let's do like 9:55 and later. Let's have to do some clicking here, and let's do almost to like 10:30. Something like that. Let's click through maybe 10:15. Let's try that. And let's see here. This will take a second to sort. So what we're going to look at here, if I'm not being clear, is let's look at October to date, to the present. October 1st to the present, to yesterday. Everything that started at the time of, and let's look at Friday. Should we look at Friday too? Well, let's look at everything first. Then we'll narrow it down to Friday. So let's look at everything that starts from 9:55, has a start time of either 9:55 p.m. from that time to 9:15 p.m. So it's starting around the time that Rampage starts. And we're asking, what do other programs do that have that start time? Friday is a disadvantage too, but we'll look at that in a minute. So if we scroll, we see some sports programming here, right? The most watched program at 10 o'clock is the NFL weather delay for the Bills game, I think. But anyway, we scroll. All right, we eventually see Rampage here. And if I start highlighting things, okay, this will give me a count. So this is Rampage is the 64th in the demo most watched program. So there's that. I don't know if that's great or what, but let's exclude everything that's not on a Friday and look at Friday only. And what we have here is an NBA game between the Suns and the Lakers. We have good old Blue Bloods. Who can stop Blue Bloods on CBS? We have all four probably all 4 episodes of Blue Bloods, which starts at 10. 2020 on ABC, and then we have all 4 episodes of Rampage. This is sorted by 18 to 49. let's look at total viewership. It is different in total viewership. We have Blue Bloods, an 2020 NBA game, the Ingram Angle, Last Word with Laura O'Donnell, Bill Maher, Laura O'Donnell, 90 Day Fiance or 90 Day the other way, Gold Rush, 90 Day. Proof is out there on the History Channel. So Rampage doing, I would think doing okay. I imagine I'm all but certain that AEW is really happy with this. I would imagine TNT's fairly happy with this too. Consider where it's ranking, what day it's on, the time it's at. You can say those are excuses, and it should continue doing the 1.1 million viewers that checked out the CM Punk episode. But I think this is doing okay. When will Wrestlenomics stream outdraw SmackDown? Hopefully for the when things get even more competitive and the wrestling culture war really heats up, maybe then when AEW Dynamite and Raw really start to go neck and neck. The Hot Shot. That was from Simcoe. This is from Sir Norm, our friend Sir Norm. I think everyone should have what are they called? Mr., Mrs., Ms. Anyway, Sir Norm says the hotshot booking for Wrestlenomics is getting Mookie on right. Is he our Stone Cold? One could say yes. Although we do have, I can break some news here. Lavi Margolin will be recording something with Lavi Margolin tonight about Ring of Honor and the turmoil at Sinclair Broadcasting and its regional sports networks. So I'll be talking with Lavi later tonight. You'll hear that probably on the traditional podcast this weekend. Let's see. Duke Catastrophe asks, has dropping viewers since September 27th. Watching now is well under 50. Is it time maybe? I feel like you're responding to AJ's question. Let's see here. Do we have other questions? It does. I noticed that people have been adding the Wrestlenomics user account. That is helpful. It was a quick season for Roads to the Top. I think that's a normal thing when it's a first, maybe especially with reality shows. I think the Miz season 1 was pretty short too. Yeah. Let's see. Trini asks, do you think AEW ratings will do better with the move to TBS? No, I think it won't be a positive thing, and I don't think it'll be a negative thing either. Though TBS is in very slightly more homes, almost insignificantly. Because I imagine wherever Turner is selling their portfolio, as far as where they're selling their carriage of their Turner networks, those are their top 2 networks on cable, right? TNT, TBS. So I think they're almost always being sold together. So the coverage is nearly identical. I would guess that AEW will hype up the first episode over on TNT because you want to make that a huge episode and get people into the habit of knowing that it's on the other network. But I don't see it being better. No. Unless there's like some incredible lead-in, but I don't. No. At 7 o'clock, there wouldn't be. Last year asks, it seems like women are performing in AEW overall in the last few months, judging by quarter hours and insight and reactions from inside AEW about this. I have not looked at that in the quarters. I struggle to find meaning in the quarters. I think they're interesting to look at. I think I've learned more about time slot value than I do about the value of who's a draw and who's moving the ratings. I think it's way overhyped, but it's a personal, emotional connection that people have with stars, and they want to hear that their favorite wrestler's a draw, or the person that they're arguing with, their favorite wrestler's not a draw. But it's something I could look into. I have looked at that over at times over the years here since we've been having all these quarter hours, all this quarter hour data to look at, and you do see sort of what you would expect is that the biggest stars are the ones who have the most, have the greatest preponderance of instances where you can say, oh yeah, that was a good rating. Quarter hours are just sort of inextricably complicated by facts like where are the ads, what time slot were you put in, who else is appearing on TV with you, were you in a match or a promo or some other kind of segment, because matches tend to do better. I think if you want to argue about who's a draw, you'd be better off looking at Google Trends, really. Not that those are a perfect measurement either, but they're at least an isolated measurement of something related to one person. But maybe I'll try to find time to look into this, to look into if there are associations that one can make about ratings doing especially well when certain people are in the quarter hours. I think that's all the questions for now. So we will wrap this up and advertise that. I think that's all I wanted to talk about, right? I think so. So next week, Thursday, is not just any Thursday. Next week, Thursday, is a WWE third quarter report. The earnings call is on Thursday next week, with a conference call at 5 o'clock. That means that the conference call would be overlapping, would be running head-to-head with this program. This program will not run head-to-head with a WWE earnings conference call. So instead, I have to look at my message to Chris Gullo to remember what I told him we are going to do, which is, I'm planning on, so the documents will come out around 4:15, maybe 4:30. Okay, the rating for Thursday, which will include Dynamite, that'll come out around 4. So I'll have maybe a few minutes to do the ratings report at 4. Then the documents will drop like immediately after on this corporate website of WWE's. And then the conference call will happen at 5. That'll last about an hour. So what I'm planning to do is to do a live TV ratings talk here on YouTube for free for everyone at 7 o'clock. About an hour after the conference call. And then at about 8 o'clock, we'll go to a different stream for patrons only, talking about the WWE earnings report and all that we've learned and all that we were told by WWE's executives. So look for that. Again, this will be at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern next Thursday. I would put this slide up. But I made all these times here with all the times around the world, but that'll be confusing. We'll use that in the future. But 7 o'clock next week, Thursday, live TV ratings talk. Not the same time, but the same channel. And then patrons will be given a link for the earnings call talk that we'll do immediately after. It'll be like the TV ratings talk will be like a pre-show to the pay-per-view. Is how it'll work. So thanks for tuning in. You can listen to our podcast, Wrestlenomics Radio, on your favorite podcast app. That'll be coming out Sunday. You can go to patreon.com/Wrestlenomics and sign up for the Patreon and get my almost daily TV ratings reports. You can get access to the big Wrestlenomics viewership spreadsheet, plus other stuff. You'll get access to the audio of this if you prefer this in audio, and you can follow me on Twitter at Brandon Thurston and at Wrestlenomics. Go to Wrestlenomics.com. Made a few updates this week, and I'll talk to everybody on the weekend.